3, that's 1 year. 6, that's 2 years. 9, that's 3 years. 12. Alright, so my video, where is all the ammunition, is really catching a lot of traction, and there's a repetitive comment in there. Now, if you haven't seen the video yet, you need to check it out before you watch this one, because otherwise this one's not going to make any sense. I'll have a link in the description down below. I'll run a card at the end of this video just in case you watch this one, and then you're like, okay, I want to know what's going on. I'm going to check out that video. So the repetitive comment that keeps popping up is something, they're not exactly the same, but the idea behind the comment is the same. And what it boils down to is that either the government is buying up and hiding all the ammunition, or the ammunition factories, they're choosing to just store all their ammunition, and they're not putting it out on the shelves, and that's why you can't find ammo, etc., etc., etc. Well, there's something that we use in America. We adopted this sometime around the 90s. I'm not a historian, so I'm not going to give you a date, but it was right around the 90s. What it's called is JIT, or just-in-time manufacturing. So why do we do this, and what is it? What just-in-time manufacturing is they manufacture the amount of product that is expected to go out at one time. That's what they make their machines around. That's what they hire people around. That's what they buy supplies around. Everything is so there's nothing sitting on the floor unless it's being worked on. And as soon as the product is finished, it goes out on a semi-truck and goes to distributors. There's no storage places. The storage places are the back of semi-trucks on the way to be delivered. And that's important because it makes ammunition ridiculously cheap. It makes it way cheaper for everyone because you're not worrying about paying for storage. You're not worried about different buildings being EPA compliant. You're not worried about labor manning those buildings. You're not worried about the interest costs if you were to take out a loan to go buy all this material. That's money just sitting there, not being used. It makes everything run way more efficient. Not only does it make everything way cheaper, it also makes it show up faster. They're cutting what they, because I got this information off of Wikipedia, but basically they're taking something that would normally take 4 weeks to ship out, and they're doing it in 4 days because it's just a much more efficient process. Unfortunately, this system is really vulnerable to disruption. Natural disasters, man-made disasters, panic buying. The problem with that is they are set up to do a specific amount of ammunition going out. They can fluctuate up or down just a little bit, but everything is designed, all the tools, all the machines, everything is designed to hit a specific number. So in this particular case, a lot of people were quoting, oh, that's not possible to have that kind of shortage. The Federal Ammunition Plant, or Winchester, I forget which one they kept quoting, produces X amount of ammunition. Now that number's irrelevant, because that number is made specifically to fit the ammunition need. There's no storage going on there. What they're producing is what we're using. So it doesn't matter if that number's 1 trillion or 5. Because it's what we're buying. That's what their factories are set up to do. That's what they've hired labor to do. That's what they've bought in advance materials to manufacture. So it's not that the government has shut down some sort of secret combination to manufacture powder or something like that. It's that it's being bought up that quick. Now, in that video, I had thrown out what I consider a lowball number. The demand has increased by 3 billion. And that's where people kept throwing around, well, Winchester can make 1.5 or 1 million rounds every single day. That's not possible for us to have an ammunition shortage because their factories are so massive that they can just pump out that much ammunition. What I think people are failing to understand is the scope of 1 billion. That is a very large number. And remember, I quoted roughly 3 billion. And I truly feel that is on the low side. And now that we're hitting shortages, it's making a feedback loop. So, okay, I might not normally be in the market for ammunition. I'm like, I got what I need. There's no reason for me to get any more. Well, then I start seeing the shelves go go dry. So now I am adding to the demand because I'm like, okay, the shelves are going dry. I have no idea how long they're going to be dry. Maybe I should buy a couple of cases of ammunition. So now that 3 billion realistically is probably somewhere up around like 10 or 15 billion. But back to Winchester producing, we'll make it a rough number because we're going to talk about multiple places, 1 million rounds a year. Now I was having troubles finding out exactly how much different factories could produce to get accurate numbers, so we're going to just take, a broad swing and cover them all. Roughly, there's 12 popular manufacturers. Those are the ones that keep popping up, so I feel they probably have the capacity to make 1 million rounds a day. But now, like when I go to my distributor, I just went to 556, and then I pulled up the manufacturers, and I counted how many manufacturers I can buy 5.56 from. There might be a couple of smaller chains or something like that that's not on that list, and a couple of these may not also have the capabilities of making 1 million rounds a day. But there is 10. So what does that mean? That means if every single plant, every single one, because remember, if Winchester just doubled their production, that's only 365 million extra rounds they've made on top of the normal demand in 1 year. That's not even a $500 million. That's not covering nothing. That's just a drop in the bucket. And remember, we're probably not looking at 3 billion added on top of the normal consumption. We're probably looking at something like 10 or 15 billion. You got to remember, these companies also have contracts, and contracts need to be fulfilled, otherwise they will get sued. So the normal consumption has not changed. That number is being taken out of the equation. So it's like all the ammunition factories start at 0, and now they need to create probably something around 10 or 15 billion. So 10 plants doubling their production, which I can assure you is not possible. Tools wear out, machines break down, they would have to put everyone on overtime. It's not going to happen. They might be able to double their production for like a few days, but then it's going to go back down. And if they doubled their production on 5.56 and 9mm, which is the ammunition everybody wants, they have to stop making everything else. 22 long rifle, 30-06. And those cartridges are also still being consumed on a day-to-day basis. They're going to have to switch from 9mm 5.56 to those cartridges for a while to hit that demand, because they'd be stupid not to. Otherwise, somebody new coming into the industry, because everybody's, brand loyalty. So if this hunting season comes around, and I go to grab my 30-06 and a box of 20, because that's all I ever buy, because I don't even shoot a box of 20, I come in, I'm like, all right, I need my Hornady 168 grain 30-06. And me, you're going to be me. You'll be me, I'll be the customer. You look back at me like, are you not paying attention? There's no 30-06 Hornady specific by name. We have 30-06, but it sure as shit ain't Hornady. I'm like, okay, well, I need that 20 rounds. So I buy it anyway. I go zero my rifle for it, and I kill a deer with it. Now that's my new lucky cartridge. So Hornady just lost me as a customer. Now I'm buying brand X because 1, my rifle's zeroed for it. 2, I killed the deer with it, so I know it's effective. And 3, I killed the deer with it, so now it's my new lucky cartridge. So I will become brand loyal to that particular cartridge. So it's very important. That's why I also said in the other video, don't go and buy ammunition you don't need, because there's other creators saying that, hey, just buy whatever ammunition you can and maybe you can use it for a barter system later. No, because that ammunition still needs to get produced. So therefore, if you're buying it and you don't even need it, now you're creating a demand on that particular cartridge when there didn't need to be a demand there. So now they're going to stop making 9mm or 5.56 to make that particular cartridge, because they'd be really stupid not to make that cartridge. Because otherwise they could lose a customer for life. And that adds up really, really fast. They have to make those cartridges. So, we've pretty much established it is not possible to double your production over a year period. Maybe for like a little period of time, but you're going to wear out your tooling. That tooling needs to be manufactured. Now everybody's going to be wanting that tooling because everybody's wearing out their equipment. There's too many variables. You're using too much of that powder. They're also doing on-time manufacturing. So now you'd have to expect them to double their production to get you that powder. Well, now you need primers, so you need the people that manufacture primers to be able to double their production to keep up with your production. It's just not going to happen. And things are going to get worse come the end of the year because now your 10 or 15 million demand that we've created, or billion with a B, demand that we created in 2020 is going to jump up because people are going to start panicking about election. Gun control is going to start rolling down. That's going to cause a higher demand. And now they have to switch over from 9mm and 5.56 to make the hunting cartridges for hunting season. Because you don't want to lose those customers because they'll be gone for life. So, with 10 manufacturers, major ones, now we're going to take realism off the table. Just, it's gone. We are no longer living in real life. We are living in fantasy land. We're going to pretend they are able to double their production for 1 year. They will make 3.6 billion rounds of ammunition extra on top of the normal demand. That is hitting the very, very conservative number I came up with and put out there. I picked that number specifically because I know the number is higher than that. That's 1 year. They can hit the low side without a feedback loop, without a hunting season coming up, without an election coming up, without realistic things that say they have no chance in hell at doubling their production for a full year. That's just not realistic. That's not going to happen. There are too many variables. So we are looking at 3.6 billion in 1 year. Now, I think realistically, the number's probably somewhere around 15 billion is what they're going to need to produce to get everything back to normal. So we're looking at 3, that's 1 year. 6, that's 2 years. 9, that's 3 years. 12. In 4 years, basically when Donald Trump gets out of office, we should start to see the ammo supplies coming back in. Even this video is going to increase probably a couple of million on top of that demand because everyone's going to be like, do I have enough ammunition for the next 4 years on the low side? Probably more like 6 years. And they're going to go buy ammo, even though it's a higher price, because it's going to be a long, long time before things are back to normal. Unless something happens, unless some total leftist president gets in and all these new gun owners, or if the riots just stop and everything calms back down. 1 second. Alright, where was I? Oh yeah, unless something remarkable happens that breaks the panic, which I do not see happening. It would take something crazy. Now, there are other options, like we might start mass importing from other countries. I don't know if Tula's made in the United States or Wolf. That's always a lifeline. I have no idea how much they import, and if we could double that import or even triple it. I don't know. Or maybe Trump gets in office and the magic 2A fairy taps him on the head and he lifts all ammunition sanctions. That could change it. But I think a pretty conservative number, now I'm spitballing here, things may change tomorrow, but a pretty conservative number is we're going to be in ammunition crunch for the next 4 to 6 years. It's going to be that bad. We're probably going to see 22 ammunition just disappear because, why make it? It's a low profit ammunition. They've probably already stopped making it and just kept making 5.56 and 9mm. Like I said, this video alone is going to increase the demand of ammunition. So, at this point in time, if you don't reload, you should probably start looking at it. Because you're more likely to walk into a store and see a primer you need, or a powder you need, or a bullet you need. You have 3 times the possibility of getting what you need when you walk into a store. So that's a really good idea. Start looking at uncommon calibers, 6.8 SPC, 6.5 Grendel. These calibers are going to shine right now because they just don't have the demand like 5.56 has. I'd tell you the caliber and a long action AR, but that's going to be my caliber and I need it to be available. But start looking at like 308. Now your AKs are going to get popular again. Your 5.45, stuff like that, because there's just not going to be 5.56, 9 mil, and it's going to cause a chain reaction right down the ammunition line. So you want to pick something a little less common if you're in the market of buying an AR-15 or building one right now. 50 Beowulf, anything. Just to help spread out the demand so it can hopefully snap back in, and hopefully we'll get back into things. Yeah, you're creating a demand in these other calibers, but there's just so low of a demand out there, and there's enough shit sitting on the shelf where it'll take a while for those to get bought up. So it's not a bad idea. Anyway, I hope this video clarified some things. I apologize that I didn't have the whiteboard of knowledge, but it was actually sitting at home because I needed it for my last video. Remember, what you're looking at here, if you want to research this, is called JIT, just-in-time manufacturing. Extremely efficient, and it keeps our wallets nice and fat because it makes everything way cheap, but it's vulnerable. Say we were to get hit with an EMP. Basically, the whole country is running on just-in-time manufacturing. If our power grid ever failed, probably that day or the next day, any supply whatsoever of anything, ammunition, food, rifles, whatever, is gone. You should always keep on hand enough to hold you over for a short period of time. We're looking at long term right now for ammunition, but you know, if you haven't got it already, it's too late. So there's no point worrying about it. Whenever you see something pop up and it's not that crazy of a price, it might not be a bad idea to buy it. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you'd like to check out any of my other videos, click on the links up here. I'll run that particular video that goes before this one right there. If you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Even if you don't buy what the link is for, just clicking on that link and doing the Amazon shopping you're going to do anyway, I had a little kickback for it because you went there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.